Hi friends, this is Kamalsha from Switcharts Consultancy Private Limited. Switcharts is into training on technical analysis, and this particular video is going to be the last video in the series of Options Basic and Options Essentials. In this video, we are going to cover the term called premium. So premium is nothing but, if I have to say in a very layman's language, it is the price that we pay to buy an option. So whenever we are buying an option, whatever we have to pay is called as premium. So this now needs to be understood into more details, that when we say that you are buying an option, it means it can be either call or put option. So it can be either of them. So whenever you buy options, say either call or put, whatever you pay is called as premium in options. Okay, so now let's understand what is this premium and what is it made up of, right? So premium is nothing but, it is a mathematical sum of two components, right? So these two components in normal language is called as intrinsic value plus time value. Right, so these are going to be the two terms which, when added at a given time, we get premium. So now let's understand these two components separately, and then we will finally end showing what is the relationship between intrinsic value and time value. How does it differ, right? So let's start with the first term called as intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is nothing but the difference between my current market price. It's a difference between my current market price and the strike price that I have chosen. So this is the intrinsic value. Now this needs to be understood with reference to what we have understood for in the money, at the money, out of money, and it will also differ with respect to whether it is a call option or a put option. So let us understand one by one for each of them. So let's say that we are talking about call options first. Okay, for the call options, you can blindly say that intrinsic value, which will now turn it to IV, is nothing but CMP minus SP. This is going to be the universal formula to calculate intrinsic value for our call options, right? So now let's say, for an example, if I say CMP is 30,200 and my SP that I am choosing is say 30,000. In this case, now can anyone recollect whether are we in the money, at the money, or out of money with respect to the current market price with respect to call option? Anyone? Right? Are you able to understand whether we are in the money, out of money, or at the money? Yes, 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 correct. It is in the money option, right? So in the money option, why? And let's understand this again with respect to intrinsic value. Now intrinsic value for the above example would be 30,200 minus 30,000, which would come as 200. So now the other way that you can understand in the money, out of money, and at the money, okay, if my intrinsic value is greater than 0, that means I am in the money. Other thing is, if my intrinsic value is equal to 0, then I'm at the money. And finally, if my intrinsic value is less than 0, then I'm out of money, right? So this is how you can easily bifurcate calculating the intrinsic value and understand whether we are in the money, at the money, or out of money, right? So this also helps us understand the options with respect to the current strike price and the current market price, right? So now we understood what is an intrinsic value and the formula for calculating the same with respect to a call option. Now let's see if we have to calculate this for a put option. For the put option, we know that things are always in an opposite direction. So whenever we know that, say for a put options, intrinsic value is going to be SP minus CMP. Okay, so this is going to be the difference for the put options. And let's see with the above example itself, if I calculate, say my CMP is 30,200, so my SP was 30,000 and my CMP is 30,200, so this comes out to be minus 200, right? So this case the intrinsic value is negative, and we know that 30,000 strike price when the market price is 30,200 for a put is going to be out of money, right? And we see that also with respect to the intrinsic value calculated, which is negative. So for a negative intrinsic value, I would be always out of money. So this what we just saw with respect to calls will even stay valid for put. The only thing is the formula for call was CMP minus SP, and here it is SP minus CMP. That's it. So now if you take another example of another strike price, say if I now think that the strike price, let me choose to be as 30,300, then in this case the IV would be 30,300 minus 30,200, which is going to be positive 100. So this is going to be the in the money strike price for the put, and the intrinsic value is greater than 0, right? Hope we are now clear with the fundamental behind intrinsic value with respect to both call and put. Now let's understand what do we mean by time value, right? So let's understand time value. Time value is nothing but it's going to be the maximum at start of the month, and as we move towards the expiry, so and towards the expiry it will reduce. It will reduce in the sense that at expiry it is going to be 0, right? So the only thing that would be then left with the premium is going to be just the intrinsic value, right? So this is what time value is. Now there is another relationship between time value and what we know about in the money, at the money, and OTM, right? So let's see that again with an example below. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a bit down and I'm going to draw something for you to understand how time value changes with respect to the strike prices, which can be in the money, at the money, and OTM, right? So now let me draw something for you. Right, what I'm drawing some is nothing but how my time value is going to be for different things. So this is going to be the ATM, this is going to be the OTM, and this is going to be the in the money. And what are we seeing here is that whenever my strike price is near to the ATM, my time value, this is nothing but the time value. My time value is going to be maximum when I am around my ATM strike price. So whenever my strike price comes to ATM, my time value will be maximum, and this maximum is also, this width that we are seeing here will start squeezing as and when we move towards expiry, but my in the money and my OTM both will have lower time value. Now why this happens is because of the second relationship between time value and, so time value and, if I have to say, intrinsic value are actually inversely proportional. So time value and intrinsic value, they are going to move in opposite direction. If my intrinsic value is increasing, what I'm going to consider here is the absolute value. So even though if I'm out of money, I will consider only the actual part of the intrinsic value and not the negative sign. So whenever you consider that, with that respect, so absolute of my intrinsic value, if I have to just say that way, okay, whenever in the money and out of money, I'm going to get a good value of this, and that is the reason why my time value is going to be lesser. And when we all know that anything divided by 0 means infinite, right? So we know that if I divide, say, 1 divided by 0 is nothing but infinite as per mathematics, right? So this is what we are saying, that when the time value or when the intrinsic value is 0, time value is going to be the maximum, right? Let's understand this with example of March series of 2019. So this is in front of you. So this is the example of premium, intrinsic and time value for two of the strike prices, which is 30,100 for the calls and 30,300 for the puts. So now if you see here, especially if you have see this time value is maximum at the start of the month for both, and then see the put that it is decreasing, and when I am deep in the money, now I am considering the put for 30,300, and when my market is say 29,800, so when we are seeing it over here 29,800, my time value is 78 when my intrinsic is 497, and if I go more below that, it is 514 is my intrinsic value, but my time value is the lowest. And that is the reason what I was speaking about, the time value is inversely proportional to intrinsic value. And then if you see below, after 15th of April, that it is increasing gradually. Why? Because again I am moving towards my ATM. So then if you look at the market price, then it is moving towards 30,300, so 30,100, 30,500, so 30,223 is somewhere I am very much closer to my strike price. So that is where again if you see my time value is more. So this is how this premiums they work, and this is how intrinsic value and time value they help us to trade in the market. Hope this video was helpful to you. Please like our YouTube channel Sway Charts.